What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod, and today I got parts 57 to 63 of the 82-part series, where I am recapping all the Knicks games from this season, but more importantly, our leader, captain, and superstar, Jalen Brunson, has gone down with a knee injury, and it does not look good. I am very worried about this injury. I also am going to hit on some MLB free agency, the Boris 3 left, and the two big names in Pete Alonso and Juan Soto that are headlining next year's free agency class. I'm also going to get into some NBA playoff talk as we have entered March and teams are starting to make their final playoff push. I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it. Please be good. Just please be good.
For three. Bang! That ball is out of here!
Alright, getting right into the episode. Knicks, after the All-Star break, have not had their help back. We got Hartenstein back, but we're still missing Anunoby and Julius Randle. Randle, I don't know, because he said he hasn't ruled out surgery, but he says he's also feeling great. And everybody's seen the videos of him working out, conditioning. Today I heard that he's had some contact. So it seemed like he's coming back to me. But I don't know. Because it's been very vague with updates from Randall. And with Anunoby, he needs to be back soon. Because I think we can survive without Randall, but not having the help on defense is the thing that's been killing us. If we have the good defense, the offense will come from it. And Anunoby's where it starts. He's the stopper on defense. He's where everything comes from. You see, our transition points were up when we had him. Our steals, our blocks, our stops, our defensive rating went from 12th to 1st in the matter of a month of getting Anunoby. And with Randall, we've had him. Everybody knows what he is. Everyone knows what he provides on offense. Everybody knows what he provides on defense. He's a really good offensive player, and he plays really hard on defense. But I think we should be able to survive with only Julius Randle out. And if we are falling and failing without Julius Randle, but we have Anunoby back, I think it's wraps. I think the writing's on the wall, especially if this Jalen Brunson injury is serious, and I think it is. Brunson went up for a shot, he pushed off, and he felt something. It seemed like something popped on the way up of his jumper. No contact, which worries me. His leg was all the way stretched out, which worries me. My guess is that it's an Achilles tear, which I'm praying I'm wrong. But if it is an Achilles tear, it's wraps. We're cooked. The season's over. We might not even be a play-in team. Right now, the East is so tight. The 3rd through the 8th seed is separated by 2 games. And if the Knicks don't have Jalen Brunson, their leading scorer, their leading assist person, then it's over. We're not going to have anywhere near the same production as we have from other guys, and the season's done. Jalen Brunson is our everything. And we cannot, to put it simply, we can't afford to lose Jalen Brunson. And I feel like I'm repeating myself a couple times here, but that's all it is. Brunson does everything for us. He doesn't do everything for us, but without him, nothing comes. We don't have anything to show for, real, because that's really what it is. Especially if Julius Randle gets surgery, because that surgery is supposed to be a 6-week recovery period, and 6 weeks from now, it's going to be the start of the playoffs, and then he's got to have his ramp up. He's going to be on minutes restriction all playoffs, and we cannot afford that to happen. Julius Randle needs to be at full strength, and Julius Randle needs to be playing the best ball of his season if we want to make a deep run, especially if we're missing Jalen Brunson. I mean, it's 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 tough living in the East right now. A game separates the third and the eighth seed. There's just not much we can do with that. And when we're a team that's sputtering, we went way up in January. Everybody's planning the parade. Everybody's planning the confetti. Everybody's getting the champagne on ice early. Everybody's saying Spike Lee, including myself. Everybody's saying Spike Lee is going to become the governor of New York. New York won't be able to survive this one. But now, when you look at it, we'd be lucky just to get the first round, get out of the first round. I don't know. It's really difficult. We're playing the Cavs tonight. This was a huge game, and we are winning. Jalen Brunson did go down in this game. Only about a minute into the game, we're up 9 points. So we're pretty much taking it to the Cavs. And the thing with the Cavs, and I'll get to this later, is they have such an easy schedule. They got the 2 seed, and they're tied for the 3 now with the Bucks, but they have one game in the loss column on them. So, but they have. I'll talk about it later. But the Cavs have such an easy schedule, and I mean, it's just really tough right now because we got to get healthy, and it's looking like it's going to be even harder to get healthy before. But if this Jalen Brunson injury isn't serious, and which I pray, I really hope it is. If it isn't, then we might be in good shape because if we get healthy and we're going down this road again, nobody wants to mess with us. Jalen Brunson might be a little. He might not be as playing as well as he was before, but he has other guys to help. Bogey's points per game were down, but he's not getting enough offense ran through him, which I think Tibbs might identify. And Burks has just been on a cold spell since arriving in New York, and that's got to change. So the Knicks, if Brunson's injury is not serious and he's coming back soon, we might be in good shape. And if we are indeed in good shape, I like the Knicks, but I don't know if we're in good shape at all. I think this is serious. It has the feeling of an Achilles tear, and I'm getting the feeling, even as a Giants fan, of Aaron Rodgers going down 4 plays into his season, and you never want to see it. You can't root for injuries like this. It's terrible. Jalen Brunson needs to get out all the Aaron Rodgers hacks to get all the Aaron Rodgers healing methods to get back before the playoffs start. Hit up his boy Rodgers. He's an Eagles fan. I forgot about that. So he's not boys with Rodgers. But you know what I'm saying. Get out all of Aaron Rodgers. Pull out all the stops to get back in a month and a half. It's a really demoralizing injury, and because if it is serious, which I think it is, unfortunately, we're cooked, and there's no other way to put it. The season's over. But Knicks, we're on a 4-game losing streak. We've won 1 game since the All-Star break, and this is our 6th game. It's looking like we're gonna get a second one. We're up 11 now. But I don't know. The Sixers got to win today. They're tied with the Knicks now, but if the Knicks get a win, they'll pull back a half a game ahead. And I don't know if we're gonna be fine, but we're just in survival mode right now, and these days cannot go fast enough. They cannot. They need to go so much faster. Because if we can stay right where we are until the end of the season, which I doubt, we'd be matching up with what? The 5 seed. We'd be matching up with the Sixers, who I like in the first round. I like the Knicks over the Sixers any day of the week. If Joel Embiid's back, it's a certified choke artist in the playoffs. And I think that's another Knicks first round win. Probably gonna play the Heat or something in the second round and get eliminated again. But actually, I don't know. It's interesting. Um, there's so many ways that the season can go, and it all depends on the injury to Jalen Brunson. But it's tough. The Knicks will get through it. If they don't do it next season, they have two more to get a championship with Jalen and these guys. I think my thought, give Jalen Brunson a max extension in the offseason. Lock him up for whatever it is, 5, 6 years, so we don't have to worry about this 2 year window that we have with Jalen, and we can worry about building around him for 3, 4 years down the line. And if Donovan Mitchell becomes available, I don't want him. Donovan Mitchell was supposed to be a Knick last season, and he wasn't. And we saw what happened when it came to postseason time. The Knicks crushed the Cavs. And it wasn't all on Donovan Mitchell, but he's their superstar player. He's the one that's supposed to be willing them to victory with ease. He's the one that's supposed to be lifting them over any team on any given night. And the Knicks simply stopped him. Quentin Grimes locked him up. And then their second option, Darius Garland, was terrible. I don't know how people were saying Darius Garland is better than Jalen Brunson a few weeks back. That was crazy talk to me. But if Donovan Mitchell becomes available, I don't want him. We're good. Donovan Mitchell is not somebody that the Knicks need, and I think we'll be better off without him. All right, getting into some baseball points here. The Boris 5, which is now the Boris 3. And then there were 3. Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, and JD Martinez. You see, I got the Mets shirt on today, getting closer to baseball season. I cannot wait for baseball season. Last year, I did not record at all during baseball season. This year, it's going to be a different story. We're taking over baseball season this year. And I'm going to try to be broader from now on. I'm not going to focus solely on the Knicks. I'm going to try to talk more sports in general. It's called the Sports Pod for a reason. So we're gonna start doing that more often. And so with Blake Snell, he's had an offer from the Yankees, and he turned it down. He wanted a higher AAV or one more year. And if I was Hal Steinbrenner in the Yankee organization, I would give it to him. You're in win now mode. You have Juan Soto for 1 year. He might walk if you guys have a bad year. Give Blake Snell the money. At least you'll have 2 Cy Youngs in your pitching staff if Juan Soto does decide to walk. And then I think you're good. Because if Soto decides to walk, there's also Pete Alonso in that next free agency class. There's also a Robbie Ray in that next free agency class. The next year for free agents, it's stacked. You obviously have Pete Alonso and Juan Soto, but there's a ton of other guys that are going to be available that the Yankees, the Mets could sign. These teams can be winners in the next 2 or 3 years. The Yankees have World Series aspirations right now, but the Mets and David Stearns, they should be planning 2 or 3 years in the future because everybody knows that is not happening this year. And with the free agents that are going to be available next year, go sign Jordan Montgomery for 2 to 3 years right now, and then build around him. Maybe not as your ace, but as one of the best second spot in the rotation guys in the league. The Mets have an opportunity here to sign Jordan Montgomery for a pretty reasonable price. If he wants to be ready for opening day, he's got to get into a camp within this next week. Baseball game, baseball starts. Well, baseball is starting in less than 2 weeks, and the first series of the year will be over this time in 2 weeks. And I cannot wait for baseball. I cannot stress this enough. I am gonna be super locked in on baseball this year. I might even do a daily upload. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see daily uploads for baseball season. I feel like I owe you guys after I didn't do anything last year. So if you want that, let me know in the comments. And but getting back to some of the guys, another guy I think the Mets can get for cheap and finally solidify that DH spot that they haven't been able to do, JD Martinez. I was preaching this 3-4 weeks back, and he's still available. Nobody has offered him. It's the perfect opportunity for the Mets to swoop in and pick up a guy for cheap. And if he's not your everyday DH, which I think he should be, let him fight with Mark Vientos for that job. Mark Vientos is a 22, 23-year-old kid. He does not deserve, no offense to Vientos, but Mark Vientos does not deserve to get a DH spot in the MLB without any competition. What did he show you last year that made you think that he could be a top end DH in the league? Because that's what JD Martinez is. JD Martinez is someone who's going to give you 35, 40 homers, and he'll get on base. I think JD Martinez would be the perfect fit for the Mets to come in and not only fight with Vientos for the job, a friendly competition, but also get that job and be really productive for the Mets this season and a couple and seasons to come. Because with the Mets, I don't know what we're doing. We're signing guys to 1-year contracts. Actually, I do know what we're doing. We're signing people to 1-year contracts: Harrison Bader, Luis Severino, Joey Wendell, just to name a few. And David Stearns is going to be evaluating everything this year. He's gonna see who fits well, who doesn't fit well. If Brandon Nimmo should go back to center field after Bader's contract expires, if he's gonna need a left fielder, if he's gonna need a center fielder, if Nimmo impresses in left field, what is Starling Marte gonna do? Is Jeff McNeil gonna bounce back? How is Edwin Diaz gonna come off a major surgery? Because we have a good little nucleus of Nimmo, Lindor, Kodai Senga has 2 more years on his contract, and Alvarez looks like a really good young player. We have a nucleus, and maybe even McNeil in that group if he can play up to what he was when he won the batting title. It's just where we need the supporting pieces and where we need more strength. Because I think the bullpen is going to be way better than last year. Last year was really bad, and this year we signed Jake Diekman, Fujinami, and it's going to be better. 100%. And we're not gonna. It's just simple. You take an inning off the game when Edwin Diaz is available. And what's he gonna pitch? 100 and something innings this year, probably. Uh, that's a good number for Diaz, I think. And if he can do that, I think the Mets are gonna be in a really good spot. Not a good spot. I don't expect us to win a ton of games, but if we can stay 5 to 7 games above 500 and 5 games inside of the wild card spot, when Kodai Senga's returning, I think we're going to be a team that could sneak into the playoffs. And who knows? The Diamondbacks got incredibly hot at the right time last year. Why can't the Mets do the same? They can sneak in as a third wild card. Why not? I think this is going to be an 85 to 87 win team for the Mets. If, like I said before, we can stay 5 to 10 games above 500 when Kodai Senga gets back. Because Kodai Senga He said he wants to be in the Cy Young conversation this year. And if he's pitching like that, why can't we get into the playoffs? And once you're in, who knows what's going to happen next? Especially with this new expanded MLB wildcard format, anybody could get in and anybody could get hot and go to the World Series. I'm not saying the Mets are a World Series team, but I am saying that there's definitely a chance they can win. I'm not saying there's a good chance the Mets can win the World Series, but everybody has an equal chance going into opening day. And you look at it last year, like everybody thought the Braves and the Dodgers were going to be the NLCS, no doubt. And then the Phillies pick off the Braves, and the Diamondbacks crush the Dodgers. And that's why I think the Mets have a better chance than people think to get in and be a sneaky team that finds success in the postseason. Because the Mets, Harrison Bader is a really good defensive center fielder. I don't know how much he's going to give you at the plate, but I know he's going to give you a ton in the field. And I think that's going to be huge because Nimmo's a really good center fielder. And if you take that up a notch with Bader and let Nimmo hit more, get his walks back up while also keeping that power that he showed he has last year, Nimmo's going to be a really good player, and he might be even pushing All-Star at that. All right, I want to get to some NBA before I end the episode because we are entering that final phase of the season where teams are pushing for the postseason and the standings are looking like they're going to fill out. Starting with the East and the top team in the East, the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics on an 11-game winning streak right now, and they absolutely crushed the Golden State Warriors earlier today. They beat them by 52. 140-88 was the final score of that game. And I did not see that coming. That was a shock for me. So the Warriors have been playing really good ball as of late. And you can't keep that up forever, and those kind of games happen. But the question with the Celtics for me, are they going to be able to keep shooting at such a high percentage from three throughout an entire postseason run? They're shooting above 38% right now at 38.4. How is that going to translate to a playoff series where teams are upping the defensive intensity? They're not going to be switching on every pick and roll. KP isn't going to get as many wide open threes as he's gotten this season. And that's a thing that makes me think the Celtics are not going to go to the NBA Finals and win the NBA Finals. Because this is the year I think they have the most talent on their roster. I think this is their only shot. They have KP's a free agent after this year. So is Peyton Pritchard. And they have a lot of expiring contracts next year. If the Celtics can't keep up their three-point shooting, they might be cooked. And you talk about the NBA playoffs. You want to be playing your best ball in April and May. You don't want to be playing it now in March and then hit a cold streak in April and you're done in a week. And the Knicks might have played their best ball in January. I don't think that as much. I think it's just the injuries derailed us. We had the injury bug this year. And I don't know. I don't think the Celtics are going to be able to keep this up. Jason Tatum has not performed in big playoff games before, and I think it happens again. I don't think the Celtics win an NBA Finals. The next team I want to talk about is the second seed in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've won 13 out of their last 17, and everybody's going crazy about them. They're the 2 seed. And I get the Celtics are really good, but they're 8.5 games back. And they have the 6th easiest schedule in the NBA, according to Tankathon. They should be the 2 seed in the East. I think it's not where they would be with a normal schedule, but with the schedule they have, that's exactly where they should be. And like I was talking about earlier, if they can't do it in the postseason, then nobody's going to care about their 13 out of 17 in February and March. And Donovan Mitchell was out tonight with a knee injury. Is that going to affect him moving forward? Is he going to be the same? And I'm worried about this with OG and Julius too. Are they going to be the same players coming back from their big injuries? I don't know. I think Donovan Mitchell's going to be fine. It was probably load management, but you never know. And that's all I want to say about the East. Actually, I want to say a couple more things. These are the teams I trust. Not the Celtics, not the Cavs, not the Bucks. Kind of the Knicks. It depends how Randall and OG come back, and if Brunson comes back. Not the Sixers. The Magic are too young. Yes, I trust the Heat, and no, I don't trust the Pacers. So that leaves the Heat and the Knicks as the only two teams I trust. And the Knicks and the Heat, the Knicks more, they might be cooked because of injuries. And really only the Knicks. But you can never count the Heat out in the playoffs. Heat culture, Eric Spoelstra in the playoffs, it's different. Their mentality is different. Something about that organization come playoff time, everything is just ramped up. And with the Knicks, they've been playing playoff basketball since January. Tibbs has these guys playing a ton of minutes a game. Josh Hart just played 47 minutes the other day against the Warriors. These guys are going to be exhausted come playoff time. And I'm not saying that I don't trust this team, because I think Josh Hart just has an unlimited motor at this point. And Dante DiVincenzo the same. Jalen Brunson is going to tough it out every game. And you know Randall's a dog. OG Anunoby is a defensive stopper, and he's going to be tasked with stopping Jimmy Butler against the Heat. The Knicks might be okay, but injuries might throw them off completely. And the Heat, I think they're going to be fine in the playoffs. I mean, with the Heat, I think they're good. And then after the 8th seed, nobody really matters. The Bulls, the Hawks, the Nets, and then everything just is terrible after that. All right, getting to the West, starting with the 3 seed, tied for the 2nd seed, the Denver Nuggets. To me, this is kind of like the equivalent of the Chiefs, the basketball equivalent of the Chiefs, where they're blending in a little bit in the regular season. They're not playing as well. They've had a couple skids. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic have looked good, yes, but they haven't looked the same. And come postseason time, I think the Nuggets turn it up and they're fine in the West. I think they crush everybody except the Clippers. I hope that's the Western Conference Finals, because that's going to be a really good series. But I got Nikola Jokic coming out on top of the West. James Harden is a system, as he's shown, and he said, but I think Jokic and the Nuggets are just better than everyone. And they haven't been as good in the regular season, but we saw that in football, like I referenced before with the Chiefs. Now, come playoff time, nobody wants to mess with Jokic. He's an incredible passer, an incredible basketball mind, almost a coach on the court. And I think that's what's going to lead the Nuggets all the way to the finals and win the finals. And then the other team that I think has a chance of going to the finals is the Clippers. The Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, James Harden era got off to a rough start, but boy, are they cooking now. They realize what their potential was. And the thing with the Clippers, everybody knows how to play their role. Russell Westbrook went to the bench because he wanted to win more. He doesn't have an NBA Finals ring. His career is nearing its final stages. He wants to get one at whatever cost it takes. And same with James Harden. Kawhi Leonard has one, but he knows how to play his role. He knows he's there for defense. And yes, he knows he has to score a lot of points also. But his main trait is defense on this team, and he's played into that a ton. And then Paul George, his knees haven't been good. He had an injury. I think he's coming back soon. But with his 3-point shooting and his silky smooth dunks, I think the Clippers are going to be a force to be reckoned with, but are going to be stopped by the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. And then the last teams I want to talk about, the Timberwolves and the Thunder, the young guys in the West. There's no veteran presence. They're playing free. They're having fun. And while that works in the regular season, once it gets to the playoffs and everybody tightens up a little bit, everybody starts playing more intense, it's not going to work. They're going to get rattled in a couple playoff games, and they're going to need those veterans to keep them under control. I don't think that they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be second-round exits, both of them. And the veteran-led teams like the Clippers and the Nuggets are going to be superior in the West. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Valiant, and this was the Sports Pod.